Images of violence and protests across India are being beamed the world over. What a sorry note to end the year on. On Wion Edit tonight, we will discuss the implications of the debate and the protests. The biggest culprit is politics. I cannot say this enough. When you politicize NRC to win an election without consulting the stakeholders, you're asking for trouble. To call human beings termites is not done. Irresponsible and volatile political comments got us here in the first place. The NRC exercise is a very sensitive one. Politics must have been kept out of it. Second, such decisions cannot be imposed. They impact lives. You have to consult and co-opt. The protests are proof that the indigenous people in these states were not consulted properly. When decisions like the citizenship law are taken without consensus, they lead to chaos. Assam has already seen it in the late 70s and early 80s, and then the Assam Accord was signed. Now, 34 years later, there are protests again, and this exposes the fault lines in Indian politics. As for the protests, here's the thing. It is a constitutionally valid right to protest. Dissent, civil disobedience and protest, these are the bedrocks on which Indian democracy was founded and built. But protest has a limit, and protesters have a responsibility. They cannot and should not resort to violence. The moment you do that, you've lost the plot. You are then on the wrong side of the law, and you must face action. Protesters must know that they run the risk of being used as proxies by vested interests. Such interests can be political, they can even be foreign. Case in point, the Jamia University protests in Delhi. The students were protesting the Citizenship Amendment Act, and they have every right to do so. But when buses are burnt and public order is disrupted, then the police will step in. It is their job. Did the police overstep? Did they use more force than was needed? Why did they fire tear gas in a college library? These are questions that must be thoroughly probed. The citizenship law and the NRC are serious, nuanced issues. They should not be reduced to a police versus protester situation. This is a constitutional debate. It's a practical problem in the northeastern states. This is also not about the legacy of Gandhi or Savarkar. This is about the India of today, 2019. Violence vitiates everything. India is at a crossroads. We have a government that passes acts without due consultation, an opposition that wants to politicize sensitive matters, trigger happy leaders from all parties, ever too ready to stir the pot with volatile comments, and a country whose economic growth is slipping. This is not a good combination. Left unchecked, these protests could precipitate India's journey to doom. It is time for the government to be open. They should listen to the protesters. It is also time for the courts to step in and take stern, quick decisions. Honestly, it is time. India's growth story was founded on peace, diversity and coexistence. All the stakeholders, and that includes the public, should keep their emotions in check. Those who damage public property in the name of protests must be identified and booked. And those who use excessive force in uniform must also face the music. The first priority has to be restoring public order, because without peace, there can be no debate and no forward movement.